Is the only religious animal. He is the only animal that has the true religion, several of them. Translation: humans are the only species on earth that insists it knows the truth about the invisible, the unknown, the divine. And we can't even agree on which truth is the right one. We claim to be superior to all other animals, yet we're the only ones who invent absurd competing religions, each claiming to have the one true path to salvation. And we're not talking about one religion, we have hundreds, think about it. No lion wakes up and prays to the sun god. No dolphin starts a ritual sacrifice to ensure safe seas. Only humans create bizarre, arbitrary rules about invisible beings and higher powers. And here's the kicker, we argue and kill each other over which invisible god is real. Twain's quote is a punch to the gut of human arrogance. We laugh at primitive tribes for their superstitions, yet we're doing the same damn thing with our own religions. The only difference? Our superstitions are sanctioned by governments and thousands of years of tradition, making them more dangerous and entrenched. The real irony? No other animal needs religion to survive. We are so weak, fearful, and insecure that we invented gods to protect us from the unknown, but all it's done is create division, suffering, and ignorance. So yeah, we're religious animals, and we're the only ones who are stupid enough to believe in gods that don't exist. Ingersoll's razor, action over empty prayer. Robert G. Ingersoll didn't mince words when it came to religion's greatest hypocrisy. His brutal quote, "The hands that help are better far than lips that pray." Translation: stop talking about doing good, start actually doing it. Prayer is just a lazy cop-out for people who want to feel good about themselves without ever lifting a finger. It's easy to say, "I'll pray for you," as if those words are somehow going to magically fix someone's life. But the truth is, action speaks louder than empty words. Think about it. When disaster strikes, when someone is suffering, are prayers going to feed the hungry, heal the sick? No. But a hand that helps, a person who acts, can change lives. Prayer doesn't build hospitals. Prayer doesn't put food on the table. Real help comes from people, not from an imaginary deity. Ingersoll's point is simple, yet savage. Religion often uses prayer as an excuse for inaction. People hide behind it, thinking it's a substitute for real work. They pray for peace while supporting war. They pray for the hungry while hoarding wealth. They pray for justice while staying silent in the face of oppression. Prayer is the perfect tool for avoiding responsibility. But here's the truth. You don't need a God to make the world a better place. You need humanity, compassion, and action. The hands that help are the ones that matter, not the lips that talk. Prayer may make you feel warm inside, but it doesn't change the world. People do. So stop praying and start doing. Action is what makes a difference, not empty promises to an unseen force. Thomas Jefferson's razor, keep religion out of government. The legitimate powers of government extend to such acts only as are injurious to others. But it does me no injury for my neighbor to say there are 20 gods or no God. It neither picks my pocket nor breaks my leg. Translation: mind your business. Jefferson was laying down the basic principle of personal freedom. As long as someone's beliefs don't harm you or infringe on your rights, leave them alone. If your neighbor worships 20 gods or none at all, it's not your problem. Their belief doesn't affect your life, it doesn't take your money, and it doesn't hurt you physically. So why should you care? This quote is a brutal critique of religious overreach, especially when it comes to politics. Religion has no place in governance unless it's actively doing harm to others. It's a direct attack on the idea that people should impose their religious views on the law or force others to follow their beliefs. The state shouldn't be in the business of deciding what gods people worship, as long as it doesn't impact others. Freedom of belief is key, and Jefferson was adamant. As long as beliefs don't cause harm, they're no one's concern. Paine's razor, humanity over superstition. Thomas Paine didn't buy into national borders or religious dogma. His worldview was brutal, bold, and boundless. His quote, "The world is my country, all mankind are my brethren, and to do good is my religion." Translation: the world is bigger than your flag, your God, and your narrow little tribe. Paine rejected the idea that your duty to one religion or one nation should limit your compassion and actions. He didn't care about boundaries, he cared about humanity. Think about it. Religions demand loyalty. They tell you who to love and who to hate. Nations divide people by the accident of birth, making you think your country is superior to another. But Paine saw through it all. His religion was doing good for all people, not just the ones in his group. Paine didn't need a holy book to tell him what was right. He didn't need an imaginary God to dictate his moral compass. His moral law was simple: do good, because that's what it means to be human. He realized no invisible deity should hold the power to divide people or justify evil. We don't need gods for morality, just common sense and compassion. This quote is a direct jab at the hypocrisy of organized religion and nationalism. While religions claim to be the true path, they often create division, war, and suffering. While nations fight for power, Paine declared humanity as a whole is the only true family. So ditch the dogma. It's a distraction. Focus on doing good for the world, not for some divine judge or the flag you were born under. We are all one, and that's the only truth that matters. Thomas Jefferson's razor, no redemption in orthodoxy. I do not find in Orthodox Christianity one redeeming feature. Translation: Orthodox Christianity is a joke. Jefferson wasn't pulling punches here. He didn't find anything redeeming about organized Christianity in its orthodox form. It wasn't about personal connection to the divine. It was about blind obedience, intolerance, and dogma. For Jefferson, Orthodox Christianity wasn't a system of moral teachings, but a political tool used to control the masses. He had no patience for a religion that demanded conformity and didn't allow for individual freedom or critical thinking. Christianity, as practiced in its most orthodox forms, was more about control than about actual moral or spiritual growth. This quote isn't just a criticism of Christianity, it's a critique of all religions that demand unquestioning adherence to dogma. Religion shouldn't be a vehicle for social control. It should be a path to personal growth, reason, and enlightenment. And Jefferson didn't see that in Orthodox Christianity. Paine's razor, humanity over superstition. Thomas Paine didn't buy into national borders or religious dogma. His worldview was brutal, bold, and boundless. His quote, "The world is my country, all mankind are my brethren, and to do good is my religion." Translation: The world is bigger than your flag, your God, and your narrow little tribe. Paine rejected the idea that your duty to one religion or one nation should limit your compassion and actions. He didn't care about boundaries. He cared about humanity. Think about it. Religions demand loyalty. They tell you who to love and who to hate. Nations divide people by the accident of birth, making you think your country is superior to another. But Paine saw through it all. His religion was doing good for all people, not just the ones in his group. Paine didn't need a holy book to tell him what was right. He didn't need an imaginary God to dictate his moral compass. His moral law was simple. Do good, because that's what it means to be human. He realized no invisible deity should hold the power to divide people or justify evil. We don't need gods for morality, just common sense and compassion. This quote is a direct jab at the hypocrisy of organized religion and nationalism. While religions claim to be the true path, they often create division, war, and suffering. While nations fight for power, Paine declared, humanity as a whole is the only true family. So ditch the dogma, it's a distraction. Focus on doing good for the world, not for some divine judge or the flag you were born under. We are all one, and that's the only truth that matters. Hume's razor, Christianity needs a miracle to exist. David Hume didn't just question religion, he ripped it apart. His brutal quote, "The Christian religion not only was at first attended with miracles, but even at this day cannot be believed by any reasonable person without one." Translation: Christianity, at its core, requires a miracle to even be believable. The whole thing, resurrection, virgin birth, divine intervention, hinges on the absurd idea that the laws of nature can be broken. But here's the kicker. No reasonable person can accept that without a massive leap of faith. And that leap is so huge, it needs a miracle to justify it. Think about it. Unmasking the illusion of the truth they didn't have the whole holy lies, exposing religious contradictions, a man rising from the dead, the faith deception around in why belief is control. These are impossible events. Reason, the ultimate battle, breaking the chains of faith. And yet, God's morality versus human morality, who is really just? If the biblical God created evil, is he the definition? Religion's obsession with fear, hell, damnation, and asking people to believe in the impossible is heaven just a scam for the fearful? Eternal torture for finite sins. Only an infinite tyrant would devise. There would be no reason to believe. If hell is full of thinkers, I'd rather burn than kneel. And the only man who invented hell was the cruelest of all men. Why priests Here's the reality. Are best Belief in miracles is an insult to reason. Guilt, fear, and it forces people to ignore how religion was designed to make you obedient. But instead of calling out, are we still slaves to ancient superstitions? Because faith, religion is the invention of men who wanted to enslave others without using chains. So if you're going to believe in Christianity, a religion that promises you heaven if you kneel and hell if you stand, logic and reason out the window. Priests and rulers have always been in a secret league against the people. Religion poisons everything. If God needs worship, religion is just an insecure dictator. Translation? Why does an all-religion ruins everything it touches? Does faith make you blind? Hitchens wasn't mincing words. Why belief without evidence? This brutal statement lays it all out. Religion doesn't just surrender quietly in the background. It's the glorification of voluntary ignorance. Politics, the God of the theologians is social structures, human relationships, education. Religion seeps believing without evidence, then religion is marketing the lie. It doesn't improve anything. It Christianity copy pagan myths. Wars, hatred, oppression, ignorance, all justified in the name of the Council of Nicaea. Thousands of years of bloodshed, from the Crusades to no man ever believes that the Bible have been rationalized with the same tired phrases, God's will, holy war, defending the faith, God's die. In the name of God, humanity has committed unspeakable acts. The church persecuted Galileo because he proved them wrong. Religion feeds violence. What does that tell you about even when it's not outright bloodshed? How religion became the world's most profitable business. It stifles scientific inquiry, tells people what they should and shouldn't believe, enforces conformity, if churches pay no taxes, and limits our understanding of the universe. From God's mouth to the pastor's. Look at how many scientific discoveries were blocked for centuries by the only way to heaven is through the church's collection plate. Hell, some religions still deny basic truths like evolution or climate change because priests are the only ones who can convince you that an invisible being psychological poison. Religion convinces war and they are worthless. Unless they religious beliefs justify atrocities. It uses guilt, shame, and fear of damnation to control them, destroying self-worth and inducing paranoia. It tells you those who can make you believe absurdities can make you commit atrocities, which is a direct assault. If history shows us anything, it's that religion is not a benign the most horrific crimes as long as poisons the mind, the soul, and society itself. When religion dominates, everything good and progressive gets proof that God is a human invention. The church won't tell you who religion poisons everything. Do you really think an all-powerful God needs money? The God of the Old Testament is the most unpleasant character in all fiction. Why do believers The God of the Old Testament is arguably the most unpleasant character. When you pray for money, it ends up funding the pastor's next translation. If you strip away the layers of reverence and pretend this is just another story, the God of the Old Testament is a nightmarish tyrant, all-knowing, but somehow needs you to fight for him online. The Old Testament let us know in the comments, jealous, sadistic, and until next time, keep the mass slaughter, the cruelty, the infliction of suffering, all done in the name of divine will. Forget about loving or forgiving. This God is a monster. Let's break it down. The flood that wiped out nearly all of humanity except for one family. Why? Because people were evil. The destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, simply because some people lived differently. The slaughter of the firstborn in Egypt, the genocide of the Canaanites, and countless other brutal acts, all supposedly ordered by this God, and for what? Mere disobedience or failure to worship. A God who drowns the world, burns cities, and orders massacres in the name of love and justice is a contradiction that should raise serious alarms. This is no compassionate figure. This is a ruthless tyrant who punishes without mercy, without cause, and without reason. The Old Testament God doesn't just act immorally, he is a paragon of immorality. And yet, billions of people have been conditioned to worship this God as if it's some beacon of light and justice. But look at the historical consequences of such beliefs. Religious wars, human suffering, the psychological damage that comes with a God who demands eternal fear and submission. Dawkins is right. The God of the Old Testament is a fictional nightmare, one that has shaped the minds of billions, fostering fear, division, and an unrelenting cycle of cruelty. There's nothing divine about him, only horror. Thomas Paine. All national institutions of churches are human inventions to terrify and enslave mankind. All national institutions of churches, whether Jewish, Christian, or Turkish, appear to me no other than human inventions set up to terrify and enslave mankind. Translation? Organized religion in all its forms is a powerful tool of manipulation. Nothing more than a man-made system of control designed to enslave the mind and ensnare the soul. Thomas Paine didn't mince words here. This quote is a direct assault on the entire institution of organized religion, from Christianity to Islam to Judaism. Churches, synagogues, mosques, these are not divine entities or spiritual havens. They are human inventions designed to terrify the masses into submission and maintain power over them. Think about it. For centuries, these religious institutions have siphoned wealth, power, and freedom from individuals, all while promising salvation in return for unwavering faith and obedience. But what's the reality? Fear, control, and manipulation. Whether it's the fear of damnation or the constant need to appease an angry God, religion plays on your deepest insecurities to keep you in line. It teaches submission, not liberation, guilt, not personal growth. The most twisted part, These institutions dress up their control mechanisms as moral guidance and spiritual salvation. They claim to offer you peace and love, but in reality, they offer nothing but subjugation, the shackles of obedience, the chains of unquestioning belief. What Payne is saying is clear. Religion isn't divinely inspired. It's a tool created by powerful men to exploit the masses. The doctrines, the rituals, the sacred texts. They're not meant to elevate humanity, but to debase it, to keep people in a perpetual state of fear and compliance. It's time we wake up and see religion for what it is, a man-made mechanism of control, not a divine truth. It terrifies and enslaves, and it always has. Thomas Jefferson's razor, Christianity's depravity. The Christian religion is the most perverted system that ever shone on man. Translation: Christianity, as practiced, is a disaster. Jefferson was scathing in his condemnation of organized Christianity. What started as a message of peace, love, and personal connection to the divine had morphed into something perverse, controlling, and violent. Jefferson saw Christianity as perverted because it became institutionalized, and the church became a tool for power, not for spiritual enlightenment. Christianity had become a force for oppression, not freedom. This quote is an attack on the system of control that Christianity had become. Instead of liberating people, it enslaved them, using fear of eternal damnation, rigid rules, and an oppressive hierarchy to maintain control. Jefferson's point was simple. Christianity had lost its way. It was no longer a system of personal morality, but a weapon of tyranny. The system itself was rotten, and its purity was nothing more than a front for political and social manipulation. Epicurus's razor, the problem of a good God. Epicurus wasn't here to play nice with the concept of a benevolent God. He came for it with a wrecking ball. His brutal quote, "Is God willing to prevent evil but not able? Then he is not omnipotent. Is he able but not willing? Then he is malevolent." Translation: if God is all-powerful and all-good, why is there so much evil in the world? If this God could stop suffering and chooses not to, he's cruel. If this God wants to stop suffering but can't, he's weak. Either way, the idea of a God who allows evil doesn't hold up. Let's break it down. Epicurus didn't mince words. The existence of evil is the death knell for the idea of an all-good, all-powerful God. If this God exists, he's either cruel or weak, which makes him unworthy of worship. Religion tries to obfuscate the problem with excuses about free will, the nature of suffering, or some cosmic plan beyond our understanding. But at its core, the contradiction is too stark to ignore. So the next time someone asks why there's evil in the world, ask them this brutal question: if God is so powerful and good, why does he allow suffering at all? Thomas Jefferson's razor, defenders of Christianity, have lost the battle. It is too late in the day for the defenders of the Christian system to talk of its purity. It is not the purity of the system which is in question, but the purity of the principles of it. It is not enough that religion be pure. It must be pure in its principles, not in its effects. Translation: stop pretending Christianity is perfect. Look at what it has actually done. Jefferson had no time for people defending Christianity as a pure system. The principles may have started pure, but the effects were anything but. Christianity had caused wars, persecution, and suffering, hardly the results of a system rooted in peace and love. He was calling out the hypocrisy of those who try to sanitize Christianity and ignore its harmful legacy. It's not enough to claim that a religion is pure in its doctrines if the real-world impact is harmful. Jefferson understood that a religion's true value is in its effects, not its abstract principles. In essence, Jefferson was challenging those who try to defend the indefensible, and he pointed out that a system that causes suffering has lost its moral high ground. Freud's razor, religion is a fantasy built on our weakness. Sigmund Freud didn't just challenge religion, he decimated it. His brutal take on faith. Religion is an illusion, and it derives its strength from the fact that it falls in with our instinctual desires. Translation: religion isn't based on any objective truth, it's a psychological crutch, created to satisfy our deepest fears and desires. It's a comforting lie we tell ourselves because we can't handle reality. It's not a divine revelation. It's a product of our own weakness. Freud wasn't mincing words. Religion offers a false sense of security in a chaotic world. We want to believe that someone's watching over us, guiding us through suffering and death. We crave the idea of eternal life, cosmic justice, and the comfort of divine forgiveness. Why? Because we're terrified of the unknown, we're scared of death, we're scared of meaninglessness. Religion plays on these fears. It promises an easy answer to the most difficult questions, the most terrifying truths. But the catch, it's an illusion. Just like a child believes in Santa Claus or a fairy godmother, we cling to religious myths because they make us feel better. They help us cope with the overwhelming fear and uncertainty of existence. But here's the truth. Religion isn't about truth, it's about psychological comfort. It provides instant gratification for the desires we can't satisfy through reason or understanding. We create gods and afterlives because we can't face the raw reality of our fleeting existence. So stop fooling yourself. Religion isn't divine. It's a fantasy designed to soothe our anxiety. And the sooner you realize that, the sooner you can free yourself from the shackles of illusion. Face reality head on. No comfort blankets, no lies. Thomas Jefferson's razor, the war Christianity waged. Millions of innocent men, women, and children since the introduction of Christianity have been burnt, tortured, fined, imprisoned, yet we have not advanced 1 inch toward uniformity. Translation? Christianity has done more harm than good. Jefferson didn't mince words here. Since its rise, Christianity has justified some of the worst atrocities in history, from the Inquisition to the witch hunts to forced conversions and beyond. Millions have suffered in the name of God, and for what? Despite all the violence, cruelty, and oppression, Christianity has not brought about the unity or enlightenment it claimed to. Instead, it has fostered division and ignorance. Jefferson's point was simple. Christianity's historical legacy is tainted by its role in injustice. It's not a force for good, it's a force for control, violence, and oppression, and nothing about it has led to greater unity or peace. Thomas Jefferson's razor, freedom of belief. It does me no injury for my neighbor to say there are 20 gods, or no God. It neither picks my pocket nor breaks my leg. Translation? Your beliefs are your business as long as they don't harm me. This quote reinforces Jefferson's absolute commitment to personal freedom. Freedom of belief is sacred, and no one should be forced to conform to someone else's religious standards. Whether someone believes in 1 God, 20 gods, or none at all, it doesn't affect your rights or your life. This is a clear condemnation of religious imposition.